The Regency period coincided closely with the Napoleonic Wars, and as a result many men were in uniform of one kind or another. This was a time when military uniforms were particularly colourful. The Prince Regent himself was closely interested in the design of the uniforms. Variations in the uniform indicated the regiment and rank of the soldier, and the uniforms were hugely variable, so our offering is representative of a lieutenant in the 3rd Foot Guards. The 1st, 2nd and 3rd Foot Guards were elite regiments, and officers would have to have deep pockets to maintain their position in the regiment. This officer is on campaign and getting dressed. He already has his shirt, which he may well have slept in. For less formal activities and active service, he would wear grey pantaloons. But today, he will be on parade, so he's wearing his white pantaloons. They are longer versions of breeches, still having the fall front, but a longer leg to tuck into his boots. Military officers, including the Navy, had black neckties. The ranks had a stiff black leather collar, very unpopular with the men. Next comes the waistcoat, made of white face cloth. There are plenty of buttons. The spacing of the buttons should be according to the style of the regiment. The spacing on this one would indicate the 1st Foot Guards, so it's not quite right, as we shall see. Next, we have the boots. These are Hessian boots, not made of Hessian, but the design deriving from the state of Hesse on the continent. They're very stylish, flexible and comfortable, but perhaps not as strongly built as they should be for a lot of marching. The officer would tolerate this since style was very important. His pantaloons tuck into the top. Next is the iconic red coat. An officer would have at least 3 of these, one shorter version called a coatee for active service, this one called an undress coat, and then a much more decorated version for formal occasions. The jacket can be worn with the dark blue lapels buttoned back and joined at the centre, or perhaps just hooked up at the top. Alternatively, there could be a casual halfway point with the tops of the lapels turned out. More buttons. The third alternative is to have it fully buttoned up. Note the spacing of the buttons now. Groups of 3 indicate the 3rd, now known as Scots Guards. Groups of 2, the 2nd or Coldstream Guards. And continuous spacing is the 1st or the Grenadier Guards. Next, we have the crossed strap, which carries the sling to hold the sword. It goes under the epaulette. Because he's a lieutenant, he has only one epaulette on the right shoulder. The strap is joined by a buckle, which is individual to the regiment, this one being for the 3rd Foot Guards. After this comes the officer's sash. It has a distinct colour indicating the fact that he's an officer. It goes 3 times around the waist and ties on the left side. And this is the officer's sword, the 1796 design. It was specified for the use of all line and infantry officers. It was ornamental as well as functional, having a handle of gilded brass and a blued blade carrying gold ciphers. As a further indication of rank, while on duty he wore a gorget. This was a vestigial version of part of a suit of armour, which by now was purely ceremonial. It was held in place by rosettes and ribbons which were the same colour as the facings of the officer's uniform, in this instance dark blue. The final touch is the bicorn hat and white gloves. All ready now for inspection on parade.